Welcome, Sagittarius, to your in-depth weekly forecast for week commencing the 29th of January for the Sun or the Ascendant. With Uranus in the part of your situation to do with your life structure, Uranus can be disruptive, and it's been there for near to 6 years now, and was going through the retrograde from the end of August until last week. So if trying to get your life working really smoothly and metronomically has proved a little bit challenging over those last months or last years, it would hardly be surprising. But of course, your ruler Jupiter moved into that area last mid-May, but it too went into a retrograde for the last 4 months of last year. So when it comes to your work, your commitments, your obligations, even your health, particularly your nervous system, things may have been a little bit challenging. But of course, as ever, planets do offer opportunities, even if some of the changes they provoke are not that easy to get through. So I feel that you probably have changed your life quite considerably over that period of time, but may not have completely felt that you've achieved a payback. And part of the reason for that is that Pluto had been moving through your sector of resources, self-worth and values for such a long period of time. Now, of course, the Sun and Pluto have moved into the chatty third house. Excellent for having those interactive conversations that you're really very good at. But at the start of this week, on Monday, both Jupiter and Uranus in that sixth house are forging quite sublime links to Venus and Mars in Capricorn. And the significance for you is that Venus and Mars in Capricorn can be good for your sense of self-worth. Mars gives you a little bit more self-confidence when it comes to asking for what you're worth. But Venus in the sign of Capricorn for you almost certainly will have created some kind of potential for an improvement around money. So I don't say this lightly, because obviously it has been a very tricky time for many of us. But the angle between Venus and Jupiter on Monday is one of the finest you can get in astrology, because in traditional astrology, Jupiter is the greater benefic and Venus the lesser. But Venus in the second house and in an earth sign, that really does create extra benefit. So some kind of good news could come through at the start of this week. But then, because Mars and Uranus is a dramatic link which can give us a push to take charge of situations and do something very decisive, show some action around our instincts. And that influence is going to be really going on for much of this week, even though it is exact on Monday, but within 3 degrees they're still supporting each other. So whether it's listening to your gut instinct and making a quick move, Uranus is very much to do with quickness, or being bold, Mars, or using some subtlety and charm, Venus, and your personality power and just your innate enthusiasm and confidence and self-belief, Jupiter, you have it all at the start of this week if you want to transform your structures or your resources. Now, Neptune has been quite the mischief maker, particularly towards planets in your sign over the last 5 or 6 weeks. But this week, Neptune is an ace for you, particularly if you can tune into your feelings in a very astute way. Now, there is a quarter moon which occurs on Friday. This does have the potential to be a bit tricky because it occurs in your 12th house. 12th house is very much to do with the more psychological dimension, our fears, our anxieties, but also it can be people who don't necessarily have our best interests at heart. But because the 12th and 3rd houses are angling together, it is possible that some gossip or some energy immediately around you, perhaps it could be a neighbour, somebody in your local community who may be a person who is not really the best character to open up to. Just be a little bit guarded, because a person could seize on a juicy tidbit that you might let slip, And obviously we all know that every time a story gets told, it gets elaborated or changed in some way. But on Saturday, the contact between Venus and Black Moon Lilith is quite delicious. If you do want to spoil somebody that you really care for, I feel that you can do so in different ways. Of course, it could be materially, but it could also be in a more sensual fashion by doing something with them that just really gets you close together. Now, as this week draws to a close, Mercury is inching forwards in the sign of Capricorn, preparing to say au revoir. It will arrive in Aquarius and be exactly conjunct Pluto on Monday. But it's close enough to Pluto towards the end of this week to give you a lot of food for thought. Mercury in the second house, it's a great planet to grapple with any commercial or business issue, but the penetrative energy of Pluto, particularly in Aquarius, could see you really thinking about how you can take those next steps forwards in terms of being more future orientated. It's been a difficult passage at times over those last 5 or 6 years, or longer over those last 15 or 16 with Pluto. But I feel that the sign of Capricorn and Venus, Mars and Mercury can reward you this week, but particularly if you're prepared to adapt in a practical way in terms of the services you offer, the way you approach work, the amount that you're prepared to bend into other people's needs and fulfill your obligations, then some real good stuff can come up for you this week. If you would like to understand the power of personal astrology in your life, if you give me 3 pieces of birth data, of time, date and place, or date and place if you don't know your time, I can produce for you your life roadmap report. This gives you searing insights into the patterns that are played out in your life so far. You also get your 12-month forecast, your transit forecast, within my special package of 30% off, and your free Zodiac, Love, Chinese and Indian booklets for the year ahead for all signs. Please see the link below for more. If you've yet to watch your deep dive year 2024 Zodiac video, please see the link beneath this video.